Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Elite 100. Many exciting things happening today. And one of the most exciting things is the return of our main man, Antonio. Had a little hiatus. He's out there building a tribe, expecting twin boys. So some of you may be wondering where he's at, and really excited to bring him back to the Elite 100. Also to bring some added value. Some of you might know that Antonio emceed the Inner Circle event. It was absolutely amazing. He brought so much energy, so much value to that event. And we're bringing Antonio in much stronger into the Elite 100 to do the same thing. This Tuesday Mastermind, we want it to be more of an experience than a meeting, right? And so we're going to bring Antonio in to help out with that. And with that being said, Antonio, I know we have some housekeeping and a lot of cool things going on.
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for those little congratulatory gestures there. Yeah, I almost had a stroke when I found that out. Talk about a gut punch. And so I'm pretty fired up over that. And yeah, the Inner Circle retreat was an absolute blast. So we're going to be making this thing just we want to take this thing to another level. So a couple of housekeeping. We have the Elite 100 Chicago event coming up. Pretty fired up over that. I think because one of my favorite movies, The Dark Knight, was filmed there. So I just want to go around and check out all the spots. So get your rooms. Laura's been popping in some links for the room blocks. Val will always get to you too as well. We got Reignite coming up too from the 20th through the 22nd. Just know that is included in your Elite 100 membership. So there's a code called Matrix VIP. It's covered, so you guys can enjoy it too as well. And I think we have a hot seat today, so I'm pretty fired up over that. I get to learn a lot of hot seats, truly.
Yeah, I love the hot seats. To me, it's one of the most powerful things we do. And it's funny, when we do a hot seat, we focus on somebody. A lot of the advice that goes to that one person ends up being for everybody. So looking forward to that, Mr. Joe Stolte. But before we get going, let's start with 3 quick wins. Who has a win they want to share from the week? Chris?
I'm so grateful and excited to be with all of you here right now, because I just got back from Van Hooseversity this weekend.
Van Hooseversity.
And I got to tell you guys, I had a blast. Not, usually driving to spend 3 days nonstop to come home and go back to work would be a daunting thing. I'm better rested and more enthusiastic about what I'm doing. Not only by Mr. Van Hoos, but by the people that he's cultivated around him that come to these workshops. So there's Power Day in my future now, along with some NLP training. And so for one, really appreciative and can't say enough about what Dave's doing, but also it reminded me just the power of the connections made in this group. And, like anything, it's 80-20, right? Maybe 20% of the people you meet here are going to have the biggest impact, no matter who they are. That is a substantial impact. And so I just wanted to give gratitude to you, Brian, for, again, the group you've cultivated, the mastermind you have, as well as everybody else here for everything we've done to get to where we are. It feels like, getting the business under my belt and getting to the matrix is actually the beginning of my career, as opposed to whatever the hell I did for the last 40 years to get here.
I feel that, brother. I feel that.
Yeah, it finally feels like it's starting, and in the most fantastic way. So extremely appreciative of that and appreciative of all you. And I think that'll do for the report for now.
I love it. I love the energy too. Dave, what about you, bud?
Well, I'm very grateful, obviously, Brian, for you putting this group together. A lot of individuals have gone through my training through this group, and it's because I think we all have one mission: to make the world a better place. We're all coming from that spiritual thing. What a great win for me this weekend. Was awesome. Another successful event. I got to see Chris really open up and see his power, and just had a vision of him getting his message out, and pretty awesome stuff. So I'm very excited about that. Very excited to come up to Chicago, man. I can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. So thank you, Brian, for everything you're doing. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely. It's the team. I mean, I wish I could take all the credit. We have a massive team, an amazing team. Obviously, Maddie coming back in, Val's on it. We had a whole team, Laura, Antonio. It doesn't happen with just one, but I definitely appreciate it, because I remember way back when I'm looking at like Ara and Yun and some of the founders going back a couple of years now, and we we started this thing with a vision, and here we are. So
I'm going to be around Miami if you're around. I'm actually going to a spiritual conference with Ray Perez Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Miami. If anybody wants to go, I can probably get you in. Saturday, I'm going to go to a franchising convention if anyone wants to know about franchising. Sunday, I'm hitting the beach, Brian. So if you're around.
we're actually, a bunch of us are going to Dave Steck's event this weekend in California. But yeah, if anybody's around, absolutely. Ian, what about you, bud? And then we'll get going with the mastermind principles here.
Yeah, Brian. So you know about this, but for the rest of the group, successfully got 2 boys through high school on Friday, high school graduation complete, and employed the principles that we're learning on a weekly basis, daily basis, to navigate that with a nesting scenario with my family and having gone through a divorce, and successfully now back into my own space. And so navigating that, employing the principles, it was a truly enlightening event. And thank you for the time that we spent last night talking that through. I just want to share that with the group. This is phenomenal business wise and even better personal wise.
I think there's been more impact outside of finance. It's been amazing financial gains, but yeah, as we get more and more into the group and more challenges come up, I think the spiritual, the relationships, the health side of it is much more important. So amen. I love it. Awesome, guys. Well, I want to give Mr. Norton 5 minutes to speak here about an investment that he has that's more, well, I'll let you speak about it, Chris. I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah, and thank you, Brian, for giving me the opportunity to speak to the group. I know that I haven't had the opportunity to meet a lot of you guys, and hopefully in Chicago that'll change because I'll definitely be attending the event. But for those of you guys that don't know me, I run a late stage fund where we invest in technology unicorns. So like, just to give you guys an example that you'd be familiar with, SpaceX. We've been buying SpaceX since it was $250 a share. They recently did a 10-for-1 split, so that brings our cost to 25. Last round was done at 77, so it's done really well. We've been lucky. We're just betting obviously on Musk and his ability to be a really good entrepreneur. But for those of you guys that have been following what's been going on with ChatGPT, we have an opportunity right now to invest in a company called Anthropic. ChatGPT is obviously owned by OpenAI, and that's the one that Microsoft backed. And Google has rolled out a technology called Bard to compete with ChatGPT that to a really large extent has been a complete failure. Like if you were to, Google, no pun intended, some of what Google employees are saying about Bard, they've said that, it's a pathological liar. They beseech the company not to release it. So to compete with ChatGPT, Google has made a large investment of about $500 million into a company called Anthropic that we have access to. Salesforce is also backing the company. And our thesis is pretty straightforward on this. And we think that Google, because they derive 80% of their revenue off of advertising, is going to do whatever they can to preserve that. And obviously, ChatGPT has the potential to cut into some of Google's search and advertising revenue. So we believe that they're going to throw the kitchen sink, at trying to protect their bread and butter, which is their advertising. And we think the way that they're going to do that is by continuing to invest into this company called Anthropic. So if anyone has an interest in learning more about that, I'm happy to share more, but that's the quick
we're gonna do tomorrow, guys, and this is kind of quick because there's a timeline to it. Normally we would have more time, but what he's talking about, if you guys understand ChatGPT, this is not a startup that they're doing. This is not like our normal type of investments. It's more of like a traditional, but there's a competitor to ChatGPT that Google's getting behind. So I wanted to give Chris 5 minutes. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow at noon, and we'll record it where he'll outline the whole thing. So this is just anybody that's an investor that wants something that's different than we normally do. They're more of traditional investing. Like I said, they look for high-tech unicorns. And if you guys are watching what's going on with AI and ChatGPT and potentially want to see somebody that might dethrone them, that's kind of what this is. So we'll put it in the group, but tomorrow at noon, for anybody interested. Chris is going to do a full presentation. It's got a lot of technical stuff to it. Their company, that's what they do for a living. So
Yeah. Just the last thing I would say is that there's been a lot of inaccuracies with ChatGPT. Like a few lawyers used it for case law and they ended up getting sued. So Anthropic was founded behind a concept called constitutional AI to be, accurate, non-biased, and also benevolent towards humans. That's like the concept behind what Anthropic, the company we have access to, has founded the company on. And we think with ChatGPT, there's not a lot of meat left on the bone there because it's already a $30 billion company, whereas Anthropic's a $4 billion company. So if it can turn into a ChatGPT and does continue to get backed by Google, we think that the upside could be nice.
yeah, I love it. Awesome. Thank you for that, Chris. And again, this is coming up quick. That's why we're doing it quick, but show up tomorrow at noon, or we'll get the recording in the chat. So don't worry if you can't, because it's short notice. Everything will be in the WhatsApp group, and just either show up at noon tomorrow or feel free to watch that. All right. And I wanted to give them that because it's a short window. So, and then, do your own homework, your own due diligence, but tomorrow, Chris will go in depth as to why their company is doing this and more about his company. All right. I'm going to skip the mastermind principle because I want to bring Joe front and center and maximize his time here in the hot seat, getting his butt kicked. So Joe, maybe just a little bit more about yourself, your background, but more importantly, what challenges are in front of you and how can we help?
Awesome. Thank you. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Cool. I made some slides. Well, rather I
let me
used some
give
slides
you,
from a keynote that I've been giving pretty much perpetually for the last 2 months straight. Figured it might be a good vehicle for us. Great. Awesome. You guys can see my screen okay?
Yep.
Cool. So I guess even before I just share, I'll just reintroduce myself. That's more personal. I can see everybody's face.
Sure.
It's good to meet and re-meet everybody. I'm Joe Stolte. I'm the CEO of a company called Daily.ai. And for the last 12 years, I've been basically scaling and selling venture-backed tech companies. Before I got into technology as an entrepreneur, I worked in management consulting and spent a few years at Microsoft before I woke up and realized that wasn't my calling. And, I've taken, in terms of the previous companies I've been a part of, I founded a tech-enabled agency that we sold. We took a company called lottery.com public for $500 million. And then in 2021, I sold a company called GrowFlow. It was a B2B SaaS company for $62.5 million. And then after that, I decided to look for my next thing. And I met my current business partners today, a guy named Evan Pagan and another gentleman named Dr. Peter Diamandis, who some of you guys might know. And they're basically working on a piece of it was like a pet project that they had behind the scenes for them too. And I say that with full respect. It's just that it hadn't met the reality of the marketplace. And I saw it. I thought it was extraordinary. And we made a deal. I became the CEO and co-founder. We took the company to market in 2021, end of 2021. And pretty much had a beta last year. And so I'll kind of focus on my presentation, just give you guys a very brief overview of what it is that we do, kind of our secret sauce, our main focus and goal. And then I'll open it up with kind of the areas I think I need the most support on. And I'll try to talk as little as possible so I can get as much genius from the group as I possibly can. So
that's good, brother.
Cool. All right. So at a very basic level, we help small to medium-sized businesses and thought leaders do something really simple, which is to engage their audience using AI automated email newsletters that get 40 to 70% open rates and 5 to 25% click-through rates. We do that using some very sort of special technology. I want to talk about how we do what we do. I'll show you a couple case studies and then I'll stop talking. So at a very basic level, like I said, our focus has really been for small to medium-sized businesses. That means organizations with less than 100 employees. And, that's most of the people that I know. That's most of the entrepreneurs that I work with and the folks that I affiliate myself with. And when I sold my last company, I realized a huge problem, right? Because that company was a B2B SaaS platform in the cannabis industry. We didn't touch the plant. We helped the companies that touched the plant. But we still couldn't run advertising. We couldn't buy traffic. And so we had to build the business the old school way, which was using email. And, unfortunately, email is the killer app still, right? Most organizations use it. It has more daily active users than any individual social media network. But email is an absolute pain in the ass, right? Especially writing email newsletters. 80% of SMBs take multiple weeks to send a marketing email, which is crazy when you think about it. And most of that time is spent actually thinking about what they're going to put in the newsletter or in the marketing piece. So we basically built a tool using machine learning that automates the whole thing. And we really focused on 3 big differentiators in terms of how we do what we do. The first one is, instead of like going out and using AI to write emails, which is fine. A few years ago, we sort of saw the gold rush coming and thought it would be much more, we would get a better result for ourselves and the brands that we work with if we curated other people's content, right? What does that mean? That means instead of trying to write top 1% content that your audience is really going to love, we can go stand on the shoulder of giants and grab the top 1% content in the world that your audience already loves, that you'd be proud to share with them, and then summarize it in your voice in sort of a curated newsfeed. And I'll show you an example of that. The other big differentiator that we knew was going to be a big deal was adaptive learning. So today, if you use ChatGPT or you use any of these AI tools for imagery or text creation, it's cool and it takes you from 0 to something, which gives you like a lot of novelty. It's an interesting and unique experience. It's like, wow, look at all this content that I created. But the question still remains: is, did it work? Right? Did it actually work? Did it get the result that you wanted? Did it get the click? Did it get the open? Did it get the person to move forward in that process? And so what we've done is we basically have given our brands and customers like a little machine learning scientist for their newsletter. And so every time a subscriber or anyone on the newsletter clicks or engages, the machine learning in the background of our app uses something that we call adaptive learning that basically makes the newsletter smarter. So it's basically updating the curation real time based on how your audience interacts with it. And we knew that was going to be important because it doesn't matter if we create or summarize content with AI, like that's cool, but that novelty is going to wear off. What people really want is the outcome. They don't want the output. So we try to give them that outcome, which is, a much higher open rate, much higher click-throughs, much more traffic to their offers with far less time. And that's something we've been very successful at. And the last thing we do is branded voice. So whether that's your voice, the voice of anyone in the world or any brand in the world, we can summarize content in a branded voice, fairly similarly and fairly accurately. I'll give you some examples. So this is one of the first newsletters that we built in our beta last year. In February of last year, Tony Robbins and my business partner launched this book, Life Force. And, it's quite successful. It hit a ton of I think it hit all the bestseller lists. And we launched a companion newsletter, something that's called Longevity Insider. And, this next screenshot's a little bit outdated. The newsletter has more subscribers than this, but this thing goes out 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 20 cents a month. It's got 40,000 subscribers and has a 53% open rate. That means like over 20,000 people every single day, 5 days a week, see the content in the newsletter, but they also see the ads that we put in there. And so that's been a really powerful tool for driving business for Peter and for, driving ancillary leads to, they wrote this book, but if any of you guys have read it, it's really kind of a really glorified ad for a separate longevity company that's quite expensive. This is the bridge between, hey, you read the book and you want to build a relationship with the end audience. So we're able to touch them every single day and give them the latest breakthroughs in longevity, and then give them offers and ads to move them up that sales process. We've done this with a bunch more people. Usually I blur their names out, but you'll notice like a lot of these subscriber counts are quite low because I took this screenshot while we were in their test phase before we actually load someone's whole list in and start sending them the newsletter. We have the AI learn on a smaller subset of the audience. But since, we're amongst friends here, this is Joe Polish's newsletter. His subscribers are far bigger, but you can see his open rate is quite high, 60%. This is the newsletter we make for Chris Voss. Chris Voss is, if you guys know Chris, is also New York Times bestselling author, just the go-to voice in negotiating. His audience has massive resonance with him, so he has a huge open rate. This is Justin Donald, if you know him. He's has a mastermind called The Lifestyle Investor. This is Cameron Harold. I think this is JJ Virgin. I mean, clearly these two are in their test phase. That's why their subscribers are so low. But you can see the open rates are really high, and none of these people's team is writing any content or spending any more than 5 minutes a week reviewing the emails that we're sending on their behalf. This is what the newsletter looks like. This is an example, of the Chris Voss newsletter. Just to give you guys a flavor for this, and then I'll be done with this. So you can see we're basically just curating other people's content. This is an article from Dr. Huberman. That's one from his group. Here's the ad to go buy his $1,000, course, and on and on. You got stuff from Strategic Coach and Harvard Business Review. And it's like 3 or 4 thumb scrolls of really good content, custom imagery, and all of this text is summarized in Chris's voice, very specifically to Chris's voice and their brand voice. So our big vision, actually, I should mention this, is when our AI filters content and curates content for people's brands, it automatically gets rid of negative news, and it only puts in what we call future forward positive news. We don't even share this publicly, but our big vision, secret plan here is to propagate positivity. And so we kind of have this internal metric that we want to help 1 billion people gain access to positive content to facilitate abundance mindset and abundance thinking. And that's not just like stuff we put on the wall. This is something like our company truly believes in. Every single person that works in the company believes in this goal, and this is really what we're here to do. But in the short term, to facilitate our goals, and this is where I'll bridge to having the group help me, is last year we ended our beta year. We weren't really focused on revenue, but we had about 380K in annual recurring revenue, and our goal is by the end of next year to 10x that to 3.8 million. So we're at 750K ARR, probably end the year, just over 1 million this year, maybe higher. So that's where I'll stop. And that's kind of the question that I have to support the group is, what feedback or questions do you guys have for me to ultimately help us get to that 10x mark, to scale to that 10x goal, which is what we're hyper focused on right now. And if you have any questions, I just doused you with a whole bunch of information. I'm happy to give context too.
No, that's good. It's a good way to start, because I was going to ask, who are some of your clients, and you showed that. One thing I can say, if you could schedule a meeting with myself and Maddie for our company, I think
Cool.
we're highly interested in, from the coaching industry, and seeing what you guys do. It sounds like you've helped people in our vertical before, and that is something. Those click-through rates are just insane.
Yeah, we have a ton of coaches on the platform, coaches and service-based businesses, including education, coaching, masterminds, like very, very good data set for those, very good performance.
I can also think of Chris Patterson with the different companies he has would be a good fit. Probably half the people on here would be a good fit for the industries we have. Chris Pepin just raised his hand. So I would say for any of you that want to if you want to put your contact information right in the chat, you're probably going to get half a dozen one-on-one calls just from this for interest there. And then I would say anybody that has connections to, coaches, who else is your prime?
We have about a third of the people on the platform are like coaches and thought leaders, authors, that kind of stuff. And then after that, it's all over the place SMB. Basically, if you have an email list that you're not mailing regularly, or you're mailing and it's not getting a good open rate, and you don't want to spend the time and energy on it, and or you don't have data science around making those results world-class, then we can do that better, faster, and cheaper than a human can. And that's a good time to raise your hand and chat with us. If you're like in the creator economy and you're probably too small, and if you've got more than 100 employees and you have compliance considerations, you're probably too big. Everyone else in the middle has been a really, really good fit for us.
Okay. Yeah, I think we would be a good fit. So Maddie and I will schedule with you there. Dave, you have some advice or critique?
Thanks for sharing with us. I love it. Sounds awesome, Joe. Couple quick questions, and I want to give you a couple things maybe you already are doing. Number one, what's the lifetime value of a customer roughly worth, and how much are you willing to spend to get a customer?
Yeah, really good question. So right now, lifetime value is for our early adopters is about $18,000. So it's the service is $12,000 is a done for you service. So we do everything on behalf of the brand, and there's some discounting there. But yeah, it's somewhere in that 14 to 18,000. We haven't actually done any paid ads. We've all done all of our acquisitions through JVs, partnerships, and referrals so far. But yeah, I would be willing to spend up to the entire amount of the first year of the agreement, 12 grand, to acquire a customer, because our retention and stickiness is very, very good. It's rare that when it works, you leave.
Yeah. So kind of similar, I've been around the block way back. I helped launch Russell Brunson. I've been with Dan Kennedy and all these different folks. So I think you're already on it. I think you asked the question, who's got your customer? and how can you do joint venture with them, do a webinar to their list, speak on their stage, which you're probably already doing. I used to have a list of, I used to have 50,000 speakers, authors, and coaches in my Infusionsoft. But when I went into my spiritual journey, I might be able to get some of that list. So you might be able to retarget all my old speakers that I've worked with over those years.
Amazing.
I would think that if you could get hooked up with Infusionsoft, they got your customer. I used to sponsor their event back in the day. I used to sponsor Dan Kennedy, Infusionsoft, and Traffic and Conversion. Obviously, if we can get to those folks, they've got your customer. And then obviously, the other strategy that you might want to consider is direct mail. I'm launching this right now for my franchising company with Kevin Harrington. And basically, obviously, you could pull up a list, let's just say in Miami, every business owner that has a certain amount of employees, your list, and then obviously direct mail them to get them to the steakhouse, have your pitchman go there, talk to them about marketing and and then sign them up. And then that's what I did to go to Inc. 500 with the city to city to city to city to city to city to city. And then I had like 25 events going on a day, a preview with 25 speakers. And that's how I jacked up my revenue very, very fast. So obviously, if you can build a team of speaker salespeople to do direct mail, do webinars, and then do joint ventures, then you could really, really get that. And then obviously, you probably already know this, 2 times a year, I would do like a 3-day customer retreat boot camp where now you got to retain them and you got to teach them how to use your software and use that. And I think easily you can hit your number with that model right there.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny, the last company that we sold, that is actually how we generated leads, almost verbatim that strategy. We did a direct mail with gag gifts to virtual events because it was during COVID. But yeah, I love direct mail. Do you happen to have, or does anybody have an introduction to anybody at Infusionsoft that could speak intelligently to partnerships or anything like that?
Man, I haven't talked to them for a while. Let me see if it comes up. I do have 2. If you have a direct mail house, I've got 2 direct mail houses in Tampa, one in Tampa, one in Lakeland, that are good that I've been using in past. So
Cool.
if not, just hit me up, whatever, in any strategies or ideas, I'll give to you. Where do you live, Joe?
I'm based in Austin.
Oh, in Austin. Okay.
Hey, Joe, quick question. Do you have any affiliate links to your services?
Yeah, we do actually. So that, like I mentioned that earlier, that's the primary mechanism that we do, that we use to go to market. So, we use we're partnered with like Joe Polish and JJ Virgin. And, this week I'm going to speak at the Steck family event. Brian, you'll be there.
Half of us are going to be there too.
Great. So you'll see me, giving the similar spiel there, but far more detailed. But yeah, the way that it works is we give affiliates 30% lifetime revenue of the customer. And then you can pass some of that on to your audience as a discount to them, or you can pocket all of it yourself. And we have
How do we register for that? How does somebody get registered for that?
Oh, just email me or tell me you're interested, joe@daily.ai. We have all the campaign assets, funnels, everything you need to launch to your audience.
We're interested.
Okay, awesome.
When I say we, I mean the Matrix. And Ivan chimed in there too. He wants to get with you about his dozen other companies. So get with Ivan for sure. And Ivan's also a minority shareholder in the Matrix. So I think we'd be interested in figuring out what it looks like to affiliate market this.
Love it.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I'm just launching a subscription model golf community. Just wanted to see kind of what you thought about when the right time to implement this would be, or what kind of is there an application for a company like mine that is launching into a subscription model?
Yeah, absolutely. So the where it gets the most traction and is the most bang for its buck is if you think about it like a middle of funnel strategy. Like if you have a top of funnel strategy for getting new leads into your world and then converting them, we're really good in the middle as like a middle of value, like create value, send them an offer. That's one of the best places. So if you're just launching it, as soon as middle of funnel value creation becomes a primary focus, that's like the most arduous, that takes the most effort basically in the customer relationship life cycle. And so that's the part that we really focus on. So if you're just getting started, like we have people that have launched from zero and just absolutely crushed it. It's just that's not the main strike zone for us. If you've launched, you've got customers and you're starting to fill them up, or you've got leads that aren't converting, or people you need to build a relationship with, that's when it's a really good time to engage us. The other thing too is like if you have a second sale, so like you have a first sale and you're looking to take them up the funnel, or you're looking to make a second sale, this is a really great way to show up value first with a soft offer. And then if they click the ad, there's a UTM, then you can follow up with retargeting or do all the rest of the marketing. But this is a really good way to add value without just sending another, what I observed in the marketplace, and I've done this too, is like you basically beat up your send from email IP by sending a bunch of like, sequences or text-based emails that are, supposed to be adding value, but they're really just long copied with a bunch of clicks to buy stuff. This flips the whole thing on its head. It's really appealing, it's engaging, it's high value. So as soon as that middle of funnel becomes a priority, then that's a perfect time we can solve a real challenge and actually move the needle in, I think, a way that most businesses aren't doing today, which is totally enabled by machine learning and AI.
Cool.
Nelson?
Yeah, Joe, and just if you can kind of elaborate a little bit on that, I want to make sure that I remember from our previous conversation, it's not ideal for cold emailing, correct? It's good if there's already some kind of relationship built or some kind of.
Yeah, it's not that it's not good. It's just not what it's built for. We have now maybe 5 or 6 people that are using it for cold. And it's just that, when you're doing cold traffic, you have to reset your expectations. The open rates aren't going to be, super high. They're not going to be 40 to 80%. They're going to be lower, but they're going to be higher than they would otherwise. Like potentially, test everything. But in our experiments, they've been higher than they would if I was just sending them text-based emails. And so the best cold traffic conversion strategy is actually to to build a newsletter in your industry or in the vertical where you think it's most interesting, just to build a newsletter to focus on adding value. And then when you're getting your target prospect, then write an ad that takes them to the next step in getting to know you, which could be a webinar, probably isn't a phone call. It's something that needs to build a bridge there, but you could use it for cold. It's just that that strategy is a little more sophisticated in terms of marketing. So if you know what you're doing, we can definitely guide you through that. It's just the metrics won't be as high, and it's a totally different strategy, but it does work. It's just not what we advertise. So there's some incongruency between like the promises we make and the results you'll get, because it's a totally different part of the funnel that you're using it for.
Yeah, I'm going to book a time on your calendar. We need to have another conversation, because I think there may be some opportunity, because we do have lots of lists now of email addresses of our targets. And then also to your goals, I think we may have a way to help you generate more pipeline, more sales leads for your target market.
I love it, man. Yeah, I always think about our conversation, like if you started a manufacturing automation or real estate automation newsletter, and it was about automation in real estate or automation in manufacturing, and then you happen to say, by the way, let us take chat off your hands. I think about our conversation a lot, ironically. So I'm happy to reach out, man. That'd be awesome.
I'll book a time we can continue exploring.
Beautiful.
There's a bunch of people interested in the chat there, so we'll make sure we get this out. They already connected with a couple of people. Chris?
Can you include me on that meeting, Nelson? I think Joe and I already have one set up. Joe, did you book a time on my calendar? I think I recall you did.
My assistant probably did. Me and my calendar have a strange relationship these days.
I'll find it. If you have, I'll find it and add Nelson. If not, then we'll just connect later. But that's all I had. Thank you.
Awesome, man. That's really great. Thank you. Yeah, and this is not really the focus of this call, but we've the tail end of our investment. It's still available. We sort of flagged the end of it for the Stack family event that's happening this weekend. But if for some strange reason it doesn't get eaten up there, and that's of interest, I'm of course willing to have that conversation as well. But again, that's not really the focus. We have some really good capital partners. I just know that one of the things when I joined the group, Brian said that spoke really highly of this group, and obviously being in this conversation with you guys, there's a lot of spiritual and mindset affinity, which I can't say we have the same with all the rest of our investors, unfortunately. So, I'm just throwing that out there. If and when that becomes a possibility, if anyone's interested, I'm happy to have that conversation too.
What would be the minimum blocks? Obviously, there's a whole presentation, but it's good to know
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
Yeah, the minimum's 50K. The current terms, the convertible note with $12 million cap. We only have just slightly less than $1 million left in that, and I imagine the Stack Family Office will probably take all of it. But we're doing a price round in August. We have 2 different funds from Boston that want to compete to lead. Basically, we have to get to $1 million in ARR, which is 86, roughly 85, 86 a month. We're at 70. So the idea is we would do a price round pretty quickly after that. So if you're getting it on the note now, no promises, knock on wood, but it'd be a nice paper bump pretty quickly.
Gotcha. This is your hot seat too, so it can be this. It can also be other things too, other businesses, anything else that you want help with.
Yeah, I love the idea of going to market through the other platforms. I don't know if anybody on this call has we mentioned Infusionsoft, but any other similar platforms,
Go high level.
Yeah, like Go High Level, HubSpot, like any of the people facilitating CRM. It's funny. I was on a guy I used to coach. He was the first head of brand strategy for Instagram. Now he's the head of brand strategy for Amazon Prime Video. And a couple months ago, he was on. They basically have a mastermind call. It was like facilitated by Adweek, and the head of Mailchimp, the head of brand at Mailchimp was like, "Man, our biggest challenge is our customers are always asking us what should we put in our emails." And so we solved that problem beautifully, and I think there'd be a lot of congruence. So this is just reminding me, if anybody has those relationships or knows anybody that's even one step closer, I'm going to start making those guys a focus of us, because I think that could be a game changer.
So are you looking for a connection at Go High Level?
Yeah, like if there's someone that does partnerships or
we've
integration.
got somebody.
Okay, excellent.
And I just noticed we've got our meeting set already at 10 a.m. on Tuesday the 20th, and I just added Nelson. So remind me. Remind me, and we'll get you connected to a guy over at Go High Level.
I'm also connected to the VP of Partnerships for HubSpot, so I know him. I'll do an email introduction there for you.
Awesome, I appreciate that. Thank you. Cool. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Like I said, we haven't even done a single paid ad yet. I think that's coming soon. But yeah, I'm open to any and all growth ideas.
Do you know Devin Johnson and Cody from Connected?
I don't.
So I think they would be really good. Somebody should definitely get in front of for their audience for sure. I will. I'll make that connection. And also, they have a massive audience. They have Connected and they have Breakout. There might be an opportunity for you on both platforms. Like if you want to market like on LinkedIn, they probably can help you do that, because they have automation based on LinkedIn outreach. I will connect you. I'll connect you with them to just have a chat and lay your cards on it. I think there's some synergies there for sure.
Amazing. Thank you.
Do you need a trusted Facebook ads guy?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, I know a dozen of them, but post iOS 14, like they all suck. They all lost their magic. So if you know anybody that's been crushing it, post that.
We got a guy who's really good. He's been helping us out. He also helped out Doug Taylor from Taylor Chip Cookies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's blown up a franchise, and this guy helped him. So again, let's get on a call there. We can also help you with LinkedIn. That's one of the services that we offer. So we'll figure something out that makes sense for a win-win.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris, who's your media buyer?
Rod Silva, Facebook ads.
Yeah, he's been doing well for you.
Yes, he's sharp and he gets it. He cares. He's really good. Also, I just enrolled him into my TIR program.
Oh, nice.
So we'll get him into the inner circle before long.
You do a 3-way intro with me, because we are always looking for good media buyers too.
Yep.
Probably a lot of people actually.
You'll like this guy. Doug Taylor.
Between.
they are. Doug Taylor referred him in, and we've been very, very happy. So A lot of testing up front, but he knows what he's doing.
I love it. Love it, love it. What else you guys got? Any ideas on how to help Joe, how to blow this up? Any connections?
What list are you emailing to, Joe, for yourself?
We built the first newsletter we ever built was for Peter. It was this is called Future Loop or Convergence. It's got like 110,000 people on there. So that's how we got our first 30,000 in monthly recurring revenue, was basically using our own platform, eating our own dog food, marketing to audience. And so that continues to be our main list. That's where it's basically like our sandbox. We experiment with all kinds of like AI automation and machine learning, adaptive learning stuff there. So that's where we do that. And then also we have, some of our joint venture partners have been very, very generous and integrative and sort of how we work with them. Joe Polish being one of them. He's just been, he's just a crazy good partner for us to think through things and test things with his people. So yeah, but that's our main list. Yeah, we also run the Longevity Insider newsletter. It's like one of the largest active longevity newsletters on the planet. We own that. It doesn't belong to Peter or Tony. It belongs to us. So, we for what it's worth, if anybody's in the longevity space or is in supplements or health and wellness and wants the mail, we have that as an asset. Just keep that in your back pocket.
That's amazing. Anybody else? Anything come to mind? Like I said, I think half the people here want to work with you. It's probably your biggest.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited to.
Yeah. And then a lot of people, raise your hand if you're going to the event this weekend. Just curious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So we'll get to everybody from the elite. We'll get together for dinner or something. We'll get us all in a chat. We'll have some fun out there. So
awesome. And then I'll just say this is like just for this group, you'll experience it if you go to the event. Our same patent that we have on our technology, we call it the perspective engine. It's basically a machine learning algorithm that matches and finds patterns. We use that for the email newsletters, but we also use that for live events, right? So every year, my business partner, Peter, does a huge mastermind called Abundance 360. And we use that basically to match 3 to 6 people at a time in small groups. So some of you guys may have gotten a survey from Blake. That survey data is then going through our algorithm to do AI member matching. So for the first time, they're going to have a session that basically facilitates making matches and take you through a little facilitated experience that's born out of our AI matching members. So if any of you guys are doing live events and have struggled to be like, well, who in my group should I connect? How do I help facilitate better connections and masterminds? That's not even something we charge for. It's just something that we give away for free to people that are in our inner circle. So if that's interesting, I'm also happy to just work with you and gift that to you. Like if you have like a huge event or a mastermind with like more than 50 people, it's amazing. I know it sounds like I'm blowing my own flute here, but dude, it is really good at making matches.
Did you connect with Mike from the BA on that?
Yeah, we talked about it briefly, and I have a follow up with him. So yeah.
All right, I can kick that door open a little bit.
Okay.
Because you're a newer member there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a sync with Corey in a week, so I'll mention him too.
I'll just give you a boost with that, because I think they have 150, 200 members. It's probably more the audience that you're looking for there.
Yeah, cool.
Amazing. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, Joe, I had a couple of conversations with the Tony Robbins Platinum Partners AI people. I did get your email and that was perfect. And so I am forwarding that, but literally today is when I had those conversations. I like to go ahead and just have a conversation before I just make an introduction. So I'll be introducing you to a guy named Doug and a guy named Peter. So just look out for that.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Cool. Thank you. This is like super helpful and encouraging everybody. I can't say how much I appreciate you guys. And by the way, for those of y'all that were on the call when you had a moment of silence from my mom, I shared that with her, and man, it made her so happy. She teared up, and it was she could seriously feel the love. And so I just appreciate you guys for holding her in your thoughts and prayers. That I can't say that's far more important than anything in business. I really felt the love of this group in that moment. And I appreciate you guys for that.
We're all family, brother, all family. Awesome. I think there was quite a bit of value in this. We'll get you the replay. We'll get it out for everybody. I think there's following up with an email. I sent a couple of a text to you as well. So I got a lot of follow-up, my young friend.
Thanks again.
Trying to think if there's I'm sure I'll end up with more ideas on that as well as many other people will too. So we'll get you connected with everybody. Anybody else have any last comments or help before we wrap up? All right, well, I think it was an amazing hot seat. I'm going to hand it back over to my main man, Antonio, to close this out.
Well, just from sitting here, there's a couple key takeaways that I have. Well, one with Chris Dorn, I think I was like, how cool are those connections, first and foremost? But then also Chris Pepin's energy right from the beginning. And I saw how things kind of tied together, where he was fired up from the event with Dave Van Hoos. And then Dave Van Hoos offered a formula for Joe that worked in a previous enterprise. And it's so cool, like how these things are really connected. And so, and also just how much Chris Patterson and a few others were just very willing to open up some doors for you too as well. So I think that's pretty cool. Just a quick reminder, book your rooms for the Elite 100 Chicago. It's in August. There's a couple of links in some of the group chats. Again, Val will be there if you guys need help with anything. Also, Reignite, again, you guys are going to be getting it for, it's complimentary. It's involved in your Elite 100 membership, 20th through the 22nd. And again, Joe, thanks for opening up, man. And I was there, I think it was about a month ago when we closed our eyes for your mom too. And it's just, it's stuff like that you genuinely feel. And I'm just glad to hear that your mom was very receptive to it, and that's pretty cool to hear. So, signing off, you guys. See y'all next week. And real quick before we jump off, for tomorrow, was that with Chris Norn? Was that going to be recorded and popped into a WhatsApp for people?
Yeah, that's tomorrow at noon. It'll be on. We'll put the link in there, but it's just my link, my Zoom link. I'll put it in the chat. Everything will be in the WhatsApp chat. And I know it's short notice, but the investment window is a short notice too. So.
Hey, Joel.
Double check. Was that East Coast time noon or what?
East Coast. Yep, 12 o'clock Eastern. Good call, Antonio.
Hey, Joe, can you chat? Send your telephone number in chat real quick. I'm about to connect you with Rod.
Yep.
And you'll be next, Brian.
Thank you, brother.
All right, don't log off yet, guys. I got to get this number.
Yeah. Awesome, everybody. Have a great week. God bless. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Hang up, Brian.
Great mastermind.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Be well. Have a good one.
Double checking you got the number.
Got it. All right, guys. Have a great week.
Roll.
Thank you. Good to see you, Dave Van Hoos.
See you guys.